Welcome back, everybody. It's time for another Daily Nipah, Rika Furude Simulator 25. If you'd like to join the action yourself, socksmakepeoplesexy.itch.io in the top left there. Go to that website, download it for free. Let us know how you're doing. So far in Season 2, we got 19 straights, 15 four houses, 56 triple doubles, 10 double triples, and 2 keep rollins, which were both on the first day. We're going to continue listening to the Socks Make People Sexy podcast as well. It has been a really fun time listening to Polly, John, and Rhett do their thing. And listen to everybody's Game of the Year podcast and stuff has been great. First, Rika. Oh, we're shopping again, and she's pissed. Look at this outfit. She's not fucking around. But she's so cute. We'll get one roll in first. All right. We're going to continue the podcast now.
To go have some weird sexual tension with Laura Bailey on stage. That was a thing.
Can I read this list?
That was a hell of a thing to come
Video
back
games.
to.
Hello, I am
Holy
Sayara.
shit.
Video games. I played some that I enjoyed. Number 1, I got back into Phantasy Star Online recently on PC, so first, I guess, and have rekindled the enjoyment of a game that basically introduced me to, well, almost everyone in this community.
Yeah.
Oh. Number 2, I also got to revive my enjoyment of playing Poppin' Music Lively for PC, too.
Nice.
Having my favorite rhythm game accessible on command is so enjoyable, and I had a blast trying to stream it, making some miserable ASMR segments.
That is a fucking feel right there. When I could get... Hey, Kraken. Yeah, we early today. When I could get Clone Hero on PC with my controller, and I could play, like, all the songs I'd been wanting to play. Such a good feeling. What's up there, Long Live Athena?
Number 3, we are
no,
running
we just
it back
started.
very quickly. That's me talking. Number 3, lastly, like the rest of the country playable, probably, I've been playing Balatro in my free time.
Balatro.
Oh, it's making a last minute. You're like,
Game
here we
Maker,
go.
Unity versus Balatro. It's Game Maker versus Love 2D.
Let's go.
Easily the most turn brain off, click buttons, and receive bacon type game.
Exquisite.
Thank you, Sockscast community, for the 2024 year, and here's hoping next year will be better than the last. Draw I shall, leaving no clarity. That is law of Sayara T.
Yep.
Beautiful.
All right, we're running it back, Balatro. You are coming
Yeah,
alive.
straight.
Like 3 in a row.
Yeah, things were looking a little dire.
Yeah,
for a
Balatro's
while,
gonna-
but, the mid-show perk up.
Eat
Let's
shit,
go.
Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
Oh, eat shit.
I almost thought Final Fantasy was going to get a snub. Which would be wild.
All right.
Polly.
Well, I guess we're gonna roll into my final pick of the day.
Ooh, let's go, Polly.
What if I?
Make it count.
I'm gonna surprise y'all. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
What if I told you that there is not one puzzle game on my list? There's 2.
No.
What?
2 goddamn puzzle games.
That's
on my
more
list
than
this
one.
Year. Can
Impossible.
you believe it?
He's a puzzler.
Number 6 is Kubanashi Recollection.
Oh, wow.
I don't know what that
This
is.
is a fantastic little puzzle platformer that
Puzzle
I
platform.
Sound
Oh.
furious Googling.
I-
Oh, this one.
I owe my entire knowledge of this game to one Gesh86 who gifted it to me on Christmas last year, and I literally started playing it like 2 days later, and was just like, oh, this is the game that I actually blame for me kind of like starting to kind of be more patient with myself and puzzle games, because
Oh.
it turns out I'm not like frustrated at the games themselves. I get frustrated at myself because my brain is dumb and doesn't do puzzles fast. So I just always thought, oh, I'm big dumb brain and just too
That's-
stupid to do
that's
puzzles.
a
So just let me blow things up
fucking-
and hit things.
That's a
I'm good
mood.
at that. But
That's
now
a
I can think
fucking
it just
mood.
takes me a longer time to do it because
Hey, FDI.
I'm a bit of a Neanderthal at times. But I had a goddamn blast with Kubanashi Recollection. This is
Kubanashi Recollection.
it's a Toho branded puzzle platformer where you play as Seki Bonky or Sexy Bonky if we're being a little kinky with it.
Oh.
She is a Rokuro Kubi. She is that Japanese demon where they got the long neck. You've seen it plenty of times, but she's like a little bit different in that she just kind of can clone her heads and throw them around.
Oh,
it's a
okay.
Real great, it's a real great power, and turns out it also makes for like really good puzzle solving. But she can like use them for all sorts of things. Like she can like attack with them. She can like knock enemies around with them. But you will mostly be using them to interact with puzzle mechanics. You can like you throw them around and they act as little springboards that you can jump on. They break blocks. They hit switches. They ride on conveyor belts and activate things and like little like Rube Goldberg puzzles at times. And the catch is that like each level you have a limit to the number of heads that you can create. And when you run out, then you kind of just got to start the stage over because there is an easy mode where they just give you 20 heads. But I think even some levels, if you screw up bad enough, you just can't complete it with even 20 heads. And this game is a lot like Patrick's Parabox in that it similarly just like has a number of worlds, and every world houses a new set of gimmicks for you to play around with and learn. And like this is a game where like when you start a stage, like you can like freely move the camera around and just like you get to like even like 3 or 4 worlds into the game, you start a level and you swing the camera around to look at what you got. You just like, oh my god, what? Like every single time I got to a new stage in this game, it was just like, what the fuck do you want?
She'll say the name
How
again.
do I do this? And
I hope.
But like it is such a game where like you really get a tangible feeling of when you start playing around with the mechanics. Like there was a real tangible feeling of just like tugging at a piece of yarn and watching the whole little machine unfurl as you piece it together. And it was just really satisfying. I think that I think Patrick's Parabox is a more balanced game.
Patrick's Parabox
that
is the
game
other
is
one.
way better at easing you in and making you feel less stumped than you are. But I think that I had more fun with this game because one, it's a platformer, and I just jive more with when you show me something like this in the context of a game type that I already like. I'm probably going to maybe glom onto it more than I would, just, oh, here's a top-down kind of sterile-looking block pusher, where you push blocks around. Like, you show me something like this where it's like, oh, I'm lopping my own head off and throwing it around to jump on it. That's silly. I can get into that. And I think that this game just gets by on a lot of, like, really, a lot of charm and character. It's actually got a really fun little story. Too, and like the art for the cutscenes is really, really cute. So a lot of that stuff. This is probably the most fun I've had with a puzzle game in a really long time. I think it's like really the first time where I played a puzzle game and legitimately got that dopamine kick of holy shit, I figured it out, and not just oh fucking thank Christ that's over.
God. The Sox Gotti cast is the time of year where I'm like, oh yeah, there are games on Steam.
I don't know that like puzzle games are ever gonna like become a staple of my gaming diet or anything. I'll probably still always just heave like the biggest sigh ever when I go into a dungeon room and there's a block puzzle. But I'm at least not as close-minded to the genre now.
We're going to get Void Stranger on your list next year.
All right, we'll do it, buddy. That's definitely up my alley.
Maybe some Baba's You as well.
What's the name of the game? Oh my god, that was close.
I think that I could probably at least give both a more of a college try than I would have a year ago. Like I am now of the mindset where it's just like I could look at Void Zero or Void Stranger and go, you know what? I could probably find patience with that. I look at Baba as you, and it's like I already like the concept of that game.
The concept is so good. Okay.
I played the jam version when it came out. It was like, oh, this fucking rips.
So yeah, I think that it's definitely something that, you know, like I feel like this year has definitely opened me up to a genre that like, oh, like a genre where that used to make me feel bad, like math.
It's like,
And now it's just like, you know what? I don't think that I'm as afraid of it now that like, oh, I understand something about myself that I didn't a year ago, and I'm more patient with myself. And I think that,
Good.
like that kind of maybe pushed these two games up a little more in that it's just like I learned something about myself, and then like when I applied that to the thing that I always had trouble with, that was hard for me to understand, and I would always just get frustrated at me. It's just like, well, there's no point in being frustrated at me because that's just how my brain works, and it works slower. And it doesn't process as much information as quickly as other people might be able to, and be like 7 or 8 steps ahead in a puzzle where I'm just like, dude, if I can get like 2 steps ahead in this puzzle, I'm doing good. So yeah, love me some Kubanashi Recollection. Like if you want
Kubanashi
a really
Recollection.
platformer that'll like really make you think and like really appreciate some really clever puzzle design, absolutely the jam. John!
awesome. So awesome.
John, I need a
Okay,
listener
we
list.
got
I need it right now in my baby.
I've
That
got
shit
a
up.
fucking banger listener list coming
All
out
right,
because
let's go.
this is from Fairly Fresh Socks recruit Chris.
Oh, hey.
Well, somehow we made it to the end of the year. At least we played some good video games. Here are my top
Triple
3,
double.
a running theme here. Number 3, Sylvie RPG 7 Elf Apocalypse, currently having more listings than FF7 Rebirth.
Get fucked, FF7!
That's 2 for Sylvie RPG and 6 for Year of the Elf. Boom! I don't know how Sony does it. She made this game in like a month or 2. It's one of the most fun games I played in the year, packed with extremely fun games. It's a bump combat game whose world is made up of 7x7 screens, each with 7x7 tiles of 7x7 pixels each. A 7 game. I didn't mention that.
All
It's
right.
it's so fucking cute. Piecing together how its systems work is a joy. It's by far the most successful Sylvie game I've played. Given its self-imposed restrictions and a 3 to 5 hour runtime, it blows my mind how far above its weight Sylvie RPG punches. It's been a huge source of motivation for my own bump combat game. Thank you, Sylvie, for your RPG and for your 7 elves. Fuck yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Number 2, Guramine, A Monstrous Adventure. Second Guramine
Yeah,
mention.
I knew this one was
When
going to
you-
be on there.
Not the second listing, but the second mention.
When you mentioned it earlier, I'm like, does he know it's actually on a list?
That's so good. This was the year I discovered the cute Falcom genre. With this genre, the story won't rattle you like Trails, and the action won't be as perfectly honed as Ease.
We gotta
But it's
keep
guaranteed
rolling.
To be a fun and mostly
We gotta
lighthearted
keep
walk with
rolling.
semi-experimental mechanics. Guramine is the best of them for
Let's
me.
go.
Combat has some cool stuff going on, like
Oh,
a
on
cave
a
storage
triple
weapon
double.
level up system, and its special effects if you attack
Double
on beat with
stack.
background music.
That's
Cute
the first.
headgear unlocks Abound, and there's even a mega tough optional super boss. All this in under 20 hours. Guramine, A Monstrous Adventure is a joy.
Nice.
And number 1, first mention, Visions of Mana.
I knew
Visions
this one was
of
gonna be. I knew
Mana.
what this one was going to be. Yeah.
It's cool that both the Zelda team and the Zelda remake team and the Trials remake team, they like got their cool remake out and everybody loved them, and then they got to make original games
Then they
and
got
then
to make
everyone
a
loved
cool
them.
game that like was really letting them flex their own creativity. Like this game is on my list. Like I
guess that's the Metroid Dread arc as well.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Same thing.
It's like, all right,
Hopefully that'll be a little
y'all
bit
did your
better.
dues and
We'll
you got
call
there.
it the Dread Arc.
Yep, the Dread Arc. I kept thinking this game would fall out of my number 1 spot, but the more I thought back on it, the more it cemented its place at the top. The demo
Nice.
is bad and almost made me pass on the game entirely, but I'm so glad I did it. It's kind of corny and straightforward, but honestly, I love it for that. Hard difficulty was beautifully balanced for me. Real chunky and exciting boss fights. I cried how sweet and refreshingly, unabashedly in love the 2 main characters are. Oh, I love that. I cried how beautiful the in-game art was.
Oh, nice, Kirk Kraken.
Chris posted art from this
That
game
good,
constantly,
huh?
and it's
Yeah.
drop
This
dead
game
gorgeous.
looks gorgeous.
Ooh.
I cried at the
I'm
journey the
listening.
protagonist went on as his naivete and optimism were greatly tested. I cried at the many different ways the party interacts with their individual parental figures. I cried after I 100% of the game with over 70 hours clocked in because I didn't want it to end. Visions of Mana has my
Damn.
heart forever. Honorable mentions, Dead Girl's Notebook by Arya, excellent. Zwei, the Ilbard Resurrection, and Zwei, the Argus Adventure by Falcom. Hell yeah, I never can remember which one of those is 1 and 2.
Yeah, I can't either. I just know one of them, like, you attack with left mouse button for one character and right mouse button for another.
And honorable mention, Daisy Goes to Slime Castle for Tea by Zelaz.
That's
You
great.
go.
I probably need to open the door for that because
I didn't know about that one. That's a 4-house.
God, that's really nice. That game rules.
Might be a
That was
little
my number one
biased,
last
but,
year.
you know.
I'm a little biased.
Yeah, it was his game of the year last year.
Yeah, it
It
was.
was my game of the year last year. Fucking great picks. Excellent job.
Yep.
Excellent list, Chris. Thank you.
All right, Rhett, you are
Hi.
closing out the day with your entry. What you got?
Okay, this
No, he's not. I closed
Well,
out
he's
the
closing
day.
out his day.
Okay.
I
Jesus.
closed out my day. Rhett gets to close out his day. You're not mayor
We're
of
not
the
closing
days,
out anything.
John.
We got 5 hours
Don't make
left.
me get Goofy back out here. I will.
Please don't.
Mayor
Please
of the
don't.
You're gonna have Donald be there.
Rhett, number 6.
Okay. My number 6 is the first game that I never considered cutting from the list,
All right.
but it's
The
also
first
the game I.
safe pick.
The first. It's also though the one game that I don't consider perfect of the remaining ones, because the top 5 are all what I consider perfect games.
Gotcha. All
So this
right.
one had still a bit of a. This part didn't 100% land for me. Number 6 is Tunic.
Oh, yeah.
This is
Huh?
a crazy fusion hybrid of, like, gameplay wise, it's kind of original Zelda with a Dark Souls twinge, like literally everything these days. But also mechanics wise, it swerves hard into being a Fez-like puzzle game at the end.
It's like very meta.
Yeah, there's shenanigans
Fez.
going on here.
The Animal Well Void Stranger Bubba's You
Yeah.
genre.
See, what I think is different about this one is that it is actually genuinely a very difficult action game up until a point. Like, the final boss is a fucker.
Yeah, I played the demo for this game and got my ass beat.
Yeah, it's genuinely hard.
Oh yeah, Kraken? That sounds awesome.
There's like a boss arena at one point where it's like there's 8 statues and you have to trigger all 8 fights and win them in one go.
God.
It's a lot. Like, there was a point where I'm like, am I just stuck here until I beat this? So you gotta like figure out which is the statue you're easiest against and like do the hardest one first, because if that bastard kills you in one hit, you lose all the progress. So like kind of
Pain
do
in
the
the
easier
ass.
ones towards the end where you're still really
Little bit of a
like,
pain
oh
in
my
the
God,
ass,
I
it sounds
don't wanna
like.
die at the end. But anyways,
Yeah.
one of the cool mechanics in this game is that as you're going through the world, everything is in
Oop,
this fictional
triple-double.
language. And you think, oh, I'll eventually learn how to read it. and then you
60th
don't.
triple double of the season.
The language
If you don't.
is not just a substitution cipher where you can map everything to English letters.
Good.
It's way more complicated than that. So I don't know how to read in this game. The other thing is that you find pages of the Tunic manual scattered everywhere. Like an
The
like an
actual
NES
instruction
style.
manual.
Oh.
Yeah, an NES style instruction manual. And the majority of that is written in this language you can't
language.
read.
Oh, good.
And like very, very important stuff and like title headers will be written in English. And it's like, it all gives me this feeling of playing a game in Japanese.
Right, yeah.
where
That's
it's
the
you
second
can piece
time we've
together
gotten
enough
5
that you can
fours
see
of the
some
day.
symbols and kind of assume what
The
they mean.
second
There's one
time.
part where it's like, basically the perk system isn't translated at all.
Yeah,
They're
language
all
puzzles
just icons,
are
and I'm just like,
beyond my
what the
brain.
fuck these do?
lot of the
I ended up
time.
looking that one up because it's like,
At least
okay,
if they're like
Gameplay
this.
stuff.
yeah, this is like, okay, you take less you take less stamina damage when blocking with this one. I need to know that game. Oh, this one lets me sprint 20% faster. Stuff like that just isn't translated. And so I think it's a really good atmospheric Zelda-ish. The reason it's so high is because it swerves at the end to being a puzzle game. And I thought that was really fun and interesting. The final puzzle is so good. I've never had a single puzzle tie an entire game together.
All right, that's.
It's like-
I like to hear that.
It's like this majestic multi-hour thing I watch a lot of HoloLive streamers. 2 of them have played Tunic. I've watched the VODs, the final VODs of those, to see them run into this puzzle and just be kind of floored by the insanity of it, and being like, I have to do what for how long? This is how big? This is the entire game. The entire game was a puzzle the whole time. What?
It was a
This
puzzle
huge
the
zoom out
whole
meta
time.
thing. It's very cool. There's
Yeah.
what they ask you to do is just really incredible.
Like we're surprised by the scope.
By
of the
King
puzzle.
DDDDDDD?
I'm just shocked Brett watches Hollow Live streamers. I'm just blown away.
So the reason this is number 6 though is because I think both endings are kind of anticlimactic and bad. I played this in January right after Void Stranger was my game of the year.
Oh man, yeah.
Which is my like golden standard of the really cool puzzle has a really cool reward.
Yeah.
Where this is like the really cool puzzle is the really cool reward, and then you get some text afterwards that's a little lame.
So it works exactly like every single other game in the genre.
Basically, yeah, like
except for Void Stranger.
Yeah. So it did kind of run up against like a little bit.
Not being Void Stranger.
I'm very clever. The video game.
And then it also gets into
Probably not a fan.
further meta puzzles get bonanzas. Like okay, no one's really gonna. I mean, people obviously did figure it out, but there's stuff in here you don't need to do, like translate the language,
Right.
then do the sequence of events backwards to trigger.
What?
Oh, it gets so weird. It eventually culminates in like the audio, looking at an audio file spectrogram.
Oh, get out of here!
To get a URL to a website. that
One
says
shot
that that's
didn't even go this far.
Yeah, it gets a little crazy, but there is at least an ending. There's 2 endings, and you can go, okay,
Ooh.
I beat the
2
game.
endings.
But
Stunning.
both endings are a little like on the softer side, I would say. Like even Fez, I thought had better endings.
Oh Jesus.
Damn.
I like the endings in
I thought
Fez.
the
I thought
Fez
they were
endings
fun.
were fine.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a really cool, interesting game.
Oh, that was a triple double.
Yeah, this is one I do want to play, but like,
Yeah.
I don't think the demo sold me on it. It's more of just like I needed to hear people talk about this more because I just don't think that I got the breadth. Because like I play it and it's just like, well, I think you're just showing me like Zelda by way of Dark Souls. Okay, and that's kind of how the demo presents.
Yeah,
it's just like,
and it definitely is a lot of that.
I'm
for,
like over Dark Souls so much.
Yeah.
I never got into Dark Souls.
Polly, do you have a listener list?
I've got a listener list from the best username in the Sox community, Nipples and Smiles.
Nipples and smiles.
Hey, it's Nipples and Smiles from the Discord with a Gotti list. So here we go. Number 3 is myhouse.wad. Yo.
Oh,
nice.
wow.
Not even sure if this one counts. However, the person that made this is a wizard. Between level design feats that should be impossible in the confines of Doom and inspiration from one of my favorite books, it's impossible not to have this on my list. But to talk
This
about
one's really
it
cool.
would spoil the surprise waiting inside. If you have any interest in Doom or Doom modding, give it a shot. Yeah, myhouse.wad is on the list.
MyHouse.wad is something we did on Wad's Day on RGL. It is genuinely a very, very interesting story-based Doom puzzle thing. It's interesting. I liked it a lot. I'm a little shocked to hear it on a games list for this, but honestly, I don't hate it. It's great. Not expecting that. Also, this is the 3rd one today where I had 5 of a number and then a middle finger. We've had 2 sets of 5 4s, and now we have a set of 5 3s.
Number 2, Sid Meier's Alpha Centauri. Despite coming out in 1999, just making you feel older. Despite coming out in 1999,
This one came out when I don't remember this one coming out because I was a little baby.
you were a babby. You were like literally no years old.
I was like 6.
Despite coming out in 1999, this game is still one of, if not the best, sci-fi 4X games there is. That's 4X exploration type games. Having just recently repurchased a digital copy of the game, I booted it up to test to see if it would even run on modern hardware, and oopsie daisied, 4 hours of my day away. That's the best feeling in the world. Some of the themes and characters are a bit dated, but the gameplay is still some of the best and still stands head and shoulders above even modern attempts like Beyond Earth. And coming in at number one, Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth. This game came out in January, and I still have a hard time not thinking about it. Not because it has a particularly revolutionary story or gameplay, but because it does everything just good enough to be awesome. My only complaint for this game is that a very large swath of the side content should have been in the Like a Dragon guide end, as it thematically would have fit there better and give Infinite Wealth's story a little more room to breathe, as it is bursting at the seams with content even for a Yakuza game.
I believe it.
Yeah, this one seems ridiculously big in terms of side stuff.
Yeah, like I just like have seen people do like strings of streams where they're just doing side stuff and not touching the story, and it's just like, that is so much content.
If it's one of those games where it's like main story 10 hours, side content 80 hours.
Yeah.
Or maybe even more lopsided.
God,
yeah.
it is even more lopsided than that. Yeah. All right, John, we are at the end of day one, and you need to send us off with an absolute gem. Do you have it in you, or do I gotta call Goofy?
No, I sure got this one.
All right.
So this could easily be a number one in a different year. I'm just like, it feels a little arbitrary. It's just like, I think the thing is like, this has been very recent. I'm still in it, and I don't necessarily want to let that bias me against these other experiences that I also really, really, really enjoyed.
Yeah. It's hard to know when to cut off a Game of the Year list, right? Like what your consideration is. It's like we had that.
I love how
issue
easy
on
mine
Album of the Year
was.
too, where it's just like
They played
really
like
great
5
album
games
came
all
out,
year.
like a week before we recorded. But it's like, do you want to include it? Oh boy. And yeah, you need time to live with things sometimes.
This is also a continuation of UFO 50. Got me playing small games. We're gonna just play a bajillion little games and get just like pure joy pumped into my veins instead of playing one big one. So coming off of UFO 50, we did like, basically I played it for 30 hours and was like, okay, love this, need a break, but I still want to do something like this. And we started playing a bunch of Famicom and NES games. I played like Batman for the first time all the way through and loved it. Little Samson, loved it.
Hey,
and we were doing more.
I speedran
I
both
don't
of
remember
those.
exactly what happened. I think the deal is that we started Namco Museum Volume 1. Cecile has a flash cart on her PS attached to her PS1, and she has the special Namco controller, like the race card or something, that makes racing games feel great. And we just played a bunch of Namco Museum Volume 1. And then we played a bunch of Namco Museum Volume 2. And then we played a bunch of Namco Museum Volume 3, and Volume 4, and Volume 5. We're going to do Encore probably tomorrow. We went, my number 6 is 80s Namco arcade games.
Hell yeah! This is a pull! I'm here for this shit.
This could easily be a number one.
Yeah,
This is
absolutely.
This is
Oh,
a
no, you're
long
good,
history of
FTI.
Amazing games.
I was just listening to the podcast all of a sudden went Rico Wembanyama or 3.
What we did, this is so perverse. I think we put more hours into this than I have UFO 50. I made a list of every Namco arcade game that they developed in the 80s. It is 77 games.
Oh my goodness.
And we have been running through this list, putting down scores for each one, and tracking what games are, what the default score for each game is.
Yeah.
So the goal is like we want to beat all the default scores for every one.
Sure.
We've beaten at least half of them,
Nice.
I think. I'll just send a little screenshot of this spreadsheet.
Which plays really well with an audio podcast.
I know. As we were recording this, I've been. We also keep track of who has the higher score in each game. So we have a running tally of who has more records across all of Namco Arcade games. The goal is for each of us to put down a score for every game. Cecile has been, as we're recording, playing a shit ton of Namco Museum and trying to beat my scores.
Spyship sighted. Spyship sighted.
She beat my just on this call. She's beaten my new Rally X score, my Galaga score, my Pac-Mania score, and she thought so. She played for like 2 hours trying to beat my Bostonian score, and then realized she's playing the old version that's roughly ported on the PS1 version, whereas I set my record on the new version, which is slightly easier. So we split the record into 2 different tiers, and now she's ahead of me on the old version, while my new version one is still pretty unbeatable. I just this is just like I think this is what other people are feeling about UFO 50. Like this is what's hitting me that way. This is just pure joy in my veins. These they're making me want to. I'm literally like, I spent like the last 2 weeks prototyping a little riff on Assault. Their top down. It kind of plays like the Contra 3 overhead stages, but better. It rules.
But better.
I figured out how to do that in Love 2D, and having a lot of fun. As a game dev, like
I love it.
This is one of the most inspiring games on the list. I figured out how much I love Galaxian. I thought it was just worse Galaga for a long time, but then I figured out how fucking good it feels when the boss ship plus the 2 sentries is coming.
Then that's when
they get real close. They get real close, and then you wait until they're close, and then boom, kill the first sentry. Boom, kill the first second escort. Then boom, you kill the boss ship last. You get a big bonus score.
Boom.
But you can't miss, because if you miss, then you only have 1 bullet on the screen at once. The thing that feels good about Galaxian is that you think it's really annoying because you can only shoot 1 at a time, but that just means you've got to shoot when they're right up in front of you, and your hitbox is actually like really generous. They can get right up in your noggin, and you can still shoot them. It feels so good. Hold position feels incredible, especially with that analog controller.
Holy shit.
Imagine it feels real good with that controller.
Libble Rabble is like, it's the aesthetics in Libble Rabble, the level transitions, the mood. It's like
those are cute as hell.
It's on the charts. Ordyne, that's a late 80s shooter. It's just like extremely colorful.
Wild
Robbers
hearing all this.
Robbers is the most fun, dude.
Martian Maze is an isometric.
Just the joy for these old arcade.
Gap Plus, the sequel to Galaga, also is really fun.
I love it.
And of course, reigning champion, ultimate game of the year of all time of Sox from here until to the end of time. Bosconian fucking rules.
Yeah, Bosconian is just so good. That game is just drilled into my DNA.
So like, I agonized. Like, I didn't agonize as much as I should have, because I could put this higher. But again, like, the top 5 are also like extreme bangers. It's just a lot. You know, this is a 10 games I fucking love list. So just gotta take it on those terms. I have, like I said, my itch collection is 55 games this year.
We joked at the start of this show. Hey man, Bosconian could be the year. Bosconian's on this list in one way or another. It happened, baby.
There you go, Bosconian.
Games, I have my media spreadsheet, and there's also a running tally there. This doesn't include every itch game, because I don't necessarily list like every 2 or 3 minute game.
Yeah, those can be like a lot of those kind of go in one ear and out the other.
I have 108 games on my media spreadsheet for this year.
That's a lot of video games. That's like my entire media thread is like 108 things.
It's all So
that's like a day. It's like 6 hours
Namco
of
games, y'all.
Steam.
Oh my god, play Konami 80s games. play
So many new
play
games a
Capcom
day.
80s, play 80s
Like,
arcade
really
games.
sit
It feels so
down
fucking
and try
good.
to live with them too. Like, it's fun to play a
Yeah.
lot of arcade games and drop in quarters and kind of do a taste test. I like doing that with my Raspberry Pi. I like just, you know, hey, let's check some things out, get a feel. But when you find something that you really want to just sit down and just live with for a little bit, whether it's like you're trying to beat a score or you're trying to finish the game or whatever.
Oh yeah, for
like,
sure.
Let that moment take you. Don't let like the
Absolutely.
don't let the short attention span that you need to have in the year 2024 dictate like how long you're able to enjoy a game. Like if you like something, really consider putting some time into it because you will have a lot of fun with it.
Especially when we go back and forth trading scores, it feels so good.
Yeah, it's a cool little
I put 2 or 3 hours into Rally X. I put 2 or 3 hours into.
I agree. You know what's really fun? Trading high scores, John. You know what would be really fun? Trading high scores, John, in, let's say, oh, I don't know, Planet Attrition, ASDF 2, something like that. I'm looking at you all out there right now. Why don't you get those games so I have some high scores to go after?
Into Gap Plus. There's quite a few in here where we just took, you know, a chunk of time and really dug deep on them. Like, it got to the point where it's like, instead of just racing through trying to beat all the scores, it's like, all right, we got to really learn this one. Pac-Land took like 3 hours into Pac-Land.
Yeah, Pac-Land is like a sit down and learn it game.
Yeah, you got it, because that also,
It
also
is.
has a really high default high score.
Yeah.
Fuck. I just love these games. I want to do this for Capcom. I want to do this I want to get that Atari 50 collection and just like live in it for
man, the Atari
for a
50
month.
stuff seems so good. I really like. I've had an idea in my brain as an Atari 2600 riff for a while, and I think I might try to make it over the holiday break. I just
Excellent.
kind of want to make something that's so simple and just like you fire it up. There's your like 3 minutes. You had your fun.
They were.
I played the crap out of the PS2 Atari collection. I don't think it was 50 games, but like when you booted it up, it had like 10 80s songs that played on repeat, and it had like 20 or 30 some Atari games, and it kept your high scores and stuff. I really enjoyed it. It was a PlayStation 2 playing Atari games, but like it's that shit still stands.
They were just like us for real.
Unfortunately, you had to pay like $30 per cartridge at the time for your $5 or for your 5-minute game. Maybe not as cool, but if you can go to itch.io and download a whole bunch of cool little small games, that's ideal. If you have a
What the fuck is up with today's Rika Farude, by the way? We almost got a miracle right there, for one. 2, I believe, yep, we are closing in on getting past Kraken here. That is insane. That's almost a miracle in itself. Rika, what the hell?
a collection with a lot of small games on it, that's ideal, and that's a lot of fun.
80, like, if you're a game dev, like, I can't think of something that's much more instructive than playing the games that came out when people were figuring this shit out.
Yeah.
That's what 80s games are.
I think a lot of people write that era of games off a lot, and that like, oh well, this isn't good, and they didn't figure it out yet. Well, I think that's the point. Is like when I do riff on things like that, or I like kind of plotting onto those ideas. It's like, well, okay, I don't think that makes it bad. That makes it worth kind of re-examining.
Yeah.
And like taking that idea and maybe doing the thing that
improving
like
on it, expanding on it.
So yeah,
they plucked these games out of the ether. They just came up with them.
They just thought them up.
They literally
invented. Like, that's insane.
Yeah,
they invented Bosconia.
Yeah,
there weren't games that they could be copying
They
from.
couldn't riff on anything. They were creating the riff material,
and
they
How do you
didn't
come up
know.
with
They
Big
were
Gun?
they had ideas and they made them work on these crazy computers back then that using an assembly language that hurts my brain to even think about.
fucking Xevious? Like, you just made
You
that.
just made that. You
Out of
literally
the
invented
ether.
shmups.
Oh. Yeah, this is a.
It's the kind of shit that makes you like kind of go, yeah, you know what? Video games are kind of special.
Yep.
And we're not even at like the top of our lists yet, and we're already getting there, dude.
I'm glad I got to end the first session with a bang.
Yeah, I think that's as solid as a way to put the first day of Game of the Year to bed as anybody could. So what do you say we take a moment and run down our lists from 10 to 6? One more time for the folks at home. I'll get us started. My number 10 is UFO 50. My number 9 is Hypnospace Outlaw. Number 8 is Patrick's Parabox. Number 7 is Yukari, you're so good. Persona 3 Reload, and my number 6 is Kubinashi Recollection. Rhett,
Hi.
what's your 10 to 6?
Number 10, Hi-Fi Rush. Number 9, Gal Guardians Demon Purge. Number 8, Grand Blue Fantasy Relink. Number 7, Uta wa Re Ru Mono.
Got it.
Prelude to the Fallen. Number 6, Tunic.
And Sean.
Number 10, Sylvie RPG 7 Elf Apocalypse. Number 9, Tales of Fantasia. Number 8, UFO 50. Number 7, Esp Galuda. And number 6, 80s Namco arcade games.
Fantastic. So we will be back here once again tomorrow at the same time with another heaping helping of all the gaming goodness you could possibly want, along with so many more. So many more listener lists. So you go give yourself the break that you need, and we're going to go give ourselves the break we need, and we will catch you next time. But before you go, I want you to remember, take note, one final thing. Remember that we are the podcast that loves you. We're the only ones that love you.
Jesus Christ, Polly. That's how the first day ends. Oh, baby. That's a hell of a way to go out. All right, so that is the first half of the podcast. We will be getting into the second half of the podcast next time. But until then, thank you for joining for another Daily Nipah. Rika had a hell of a day today, some really close ones. Thank you for that Game of the Year podcast so far. We're halfway through. We got another half to go. I'm curious to hear number ones on the list and a lot of the explanations that go with that. But YouTubers, thank you so much for joining for another Daily Nipah. I appreciate that. If you'd like to join yourself, socksmakepeoplesexy.itch.io. Go down there and download it for free, along with all the other fun games there. And then let us know how you're doing, if you get a miracle, and all that classy good stuff. But until then, YouTubers, thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe. I'd appreciate that very, very much. Positive vibes, y'all, and have a wonderful night.